Alright, so this problem says Samantha and John, two siblings, shared the cost of a book they bought for their dad. Samantha paid 2/5 of the cost of the book with 3/4 of her money, whereas John paid the rest of the cost of the book with 2/5 of his money. If Samantha was left with $24, how much money was John left with? To do this problem, we're going to make a visual representation of the cost of the book, which is divided into fifths. So we're going to make a rectangle and divide that into fifths to represent the cost of the book and who paid what amounts. Alright, so this rectangle is going to represent the cost of the book, so we might as well write that above so we know what this is. Now we're going to look at the second sentence of the problem. It says Samantha paid 2/5 of the cost of the book with 3/4 of her money. We'll focus on the 2/5 first. We have 2/5 over here. This will be the amount of money that Samantha paid. She paid 2/5 of the cost of the book, and we have that represented here. The second part of the second sentence says that Samantha paid for 2/5 of the cost of the book with 3/4 of her money. So we're going to make another representation of Samantha's money. She paid for 2/5 of the cost of the book with 3/4 of her money. We'll highlight 3/4, and we'll make it the same color as the 2/5 because this is the same amount. 2/5 of the cost of the book is actually 3/4 of Samantha's money. Important to know. Alright, the next sentence says, John paid the rest of the cost of the book with 2/5 of his money. So we'll make 3/5 because John paid for the rest of the cost, which would be 3/5. There we go. This is how much John paid, and he used 2/5 of his money. Now we'll make a table, a rectangle for John that'll represent the amount of money he had. Needs to be in fifths. There we go. Since he paid for 3/5 of the cost of the book with 2/5 of his money, we will shade that in. They are the same color because 3/5 of the cost of the book is actually 2/5 of John's money. Now we'll label the two so we know. Wonderful. And now we'll look at the last sentence of the problem. If Samantha was left with $24, how much money was John left with? You can see here that on our diagram, Samantha was left with 1/4 of her money because the white space represents the money not spent. So this 1/4 must be $24. Using this, we can find the value of the other 3/4, which should also be $24. There we go. Can also find the cost of the 2/5 right here because, as I mentioned before, the blue shaded region, the 3/4 of Samantha's money represents 2/5 of the cost of the book. The 3/4 together represent a total of $72. So 2/5 must represent $72. meaning 1/5 must represent $36.